here. Okay, welcome everybody to the last online meeting here. So tonight we're going to go over the requirements for the diagnostic project and the final case study, and then any other questions people have. Let's look at the instructions for the diagnostic project one more time. So each church student is charged with assisting an organization with an organizational problem, a management or organization or management problem. So using the things we've learned in this class, right? Complete a thorough analysis of the problem, develop concrete strategies for intervention. So what is the issue? What might we do about it? And use the three lens approach to analyze and describe to analyze and describe the organization. So you got to look at it from these three different facets, just like we did on the Four Seasons case. So use the strategic lens for the structure, the organization, all of that, the cultural lens for what's going on behind the scenes, and what am I thinking of? Now I'm drawing a blank. What's the third lens? Is Jonathan, help me out. The three the cultural and
is cultural, organizational, and political. Yes,
political. Thank you. I was drawing a blank. Thanks. So the political lens. What are the politics going on in the office and all of that? And certainly, I really like the three lens approach because as a young employee, as a young engineer, I was really blown away by it wasn't just the structural, strategic approach of the company or even the organizational, but the cultural, the political things mattered so much inside the organization. So, I really had to learn a lot about how organizations work to be effective in an organization. So I want you to look at the organization through those three different lenses. Now, they all might not be critical. One of them might be clear as a bell. So it might be, for instance, it might be the political lens that's the problem. The strategic lens, all the structural things might be fine. So look at it from all three lenses, but you don't have to recommend changes through all three lenses. It might be just that. Actually, what I need to do is, when I'm looking at those, what are we doing here? I was sharing the screen. I was reading the instructions, trying to share the screen. Oh, here it is, share. Right, so now I can hit diagnostic project, right? So here's the instructions, right? So yeah, use the three lenses to analyze and describe the organization, right? And then you have to recommended changes to help fix the organization. And again, it doesn't have to be, you have to address issues with all three lenses, but you should look at all three lenses to see if that's where the problem might lie, right? Sometimes it is strategic where you have organizations, one group's supposed to save money, the other group's supposed to have better customer service, and they're diametrically opposed in their missions, right? That'd be a strategic problem as opposed to a cultural or a political problem. Okay. So when you do that right, each student will give a formal professional presentation of the research when I say to the class, but basically it's to me, right, on the online version, right? And then so you can either go to, some people have used Zoom for that, other people have used the VoiceThread, and some people even use the Google Slides with voice attached to it, right? Either one of those are fine. However you want to do your presentation electronically, just so you can save it and send me a link to that, right? And turn in one copy of your written report and presentation. So the project will be evaluated by the following criteria: problem definition and development. Does the paper adequately probe the problem under investigation? Apply the three lenses to analyze different facets of the issue. So I want you to clearly call out the three different lenses, explain the issue, and then look at it through those three lenses as separate efforts. It might only be a paragraph or two per lens, but make sure you clearly call it out per lens. And do you demonstrate an understanding of relevant theories and methods which can be used to diagnose the problem? Is your recommendation both practical and based on the organizational theory, right? It doesn't do you any good if you tell me, well, they really need to fire everybody and get all new people in here, because that's probably not practical, right? So you got to have a practical, implementable solution to the problem. Professionalism. Is the information clearly presented? Is your writing fine? Is it without a lot of errors? When appropriate, can you use tables for information? Do you have headings? Do you spread things out like the headings for the three lenses? Those type things. So somebody who really doesn't understand where you're going with this paper could look at it and make sense from it. And should be clean writing style and so forth. Organization. Is the paper's structure apparent and easy to follow? So do you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? Make sure you have a conclusion at the end where you wrap up what your recommendations are and why. Are the paragraphs clearly structured and linked together through transitions, right? So does it have some flow? Can a person reading this paper follow your train of thought? Some people jump around way too much, right? And then the presentation, right? Was it clear and professional and informative? So most people use PowerPoint slides, which were fine. I really don't have a limit on the number of PowerPoints you want to use, but keep in mind this is a 10 to 15 minute presentation. So some people say 2 minutes a slide. Some people talk fast, 1 minute a slide, probably 3 is not enough. 30 is way too many, right? To give you some grounds, right? And I don't have it on here. What did I tell you for how many pages for the paper?
Oh, you said 5.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 or 6 pages, right? Right. I think of what I said, right, to give you an idea.
Is it a problem if, I assume it's not a problem if it's longer?
No. If you come in 7.5 or something like that, yeah.
Well, if you incorporate graphs and such, it kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Some people put an org chart or whatever in. I don't count those as part of the paper, right? Right. So if you have graphs and tables and things like that, I don't count that as part of the time, right? Yeah. If you look at the 8 pages is fine, but 28 is way too much, right? You've gone too far into the weeds. Don't do that.
Figured you needed some nighttime reading.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. 19 of them. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a quick question.
Yep, sure.
And forgive me if you've already spelled it out somewhere, but I'm looking at the 602 timeline summary, and I'm looking at the Word document for the diagnostic project, and I'm looking at on the Moodle page, and I don't see a due date. Maybe I'm missing it. But when is this paper due?
Paper is due the
I think it's 25th.
Yeah, 25th. Yes.
Yeah, it's like Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, it's like a little timeline one.
Yes. Yep. The Excel spreadsheet says the 25th, and I added that to the header of the folder where we put it in.
Oh, so, that's the final presentation. Okay. I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Right. So we can go to the Moodle page, and down here at the bottom, we submit it here. Right. It goes in here, and it goes in here from the 25th. Right. Right. And then the final case exam loads here on the 30th. So you have the weekend to knock that out. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Okay. I guess for the presentation portion of the organization diagnostic project, is there do you want us to do a picture-in-picture mode? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. That's fine. Right. Some people just have an audio of them talking over their PowerPoints, but to tell you the truth, I'd rather see your face in there too, like picture-in-picture, right? Yeah.
And we can do
it like this. You can log into Zoom, schedule a Zoom meeting for yourself, record it, and send it to me. Right? That's okay too. But I have that voice thread set up where you can use that. Right? If you go to our voice thread pages, there's a voice thread. Here we go. Voice thread presentation of organizational. Right? So you go to this. Right. And you can speak with your presentation here. Oh, that's right. The problem is, how do you do the PowerPoints?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Oh, I know what I was thinking. I tell some people just actually use a laptop or something to hold their PowerPoints, but if they only had a few slides. That's right. That's a bit of an issue with a PowerPoint, right? But if you use Google Slides, you can do your audio over it. That's fine too. Right. So however you feel comfortable doing it. Okay.
And I would another question for the 3 lenses. Do you want us, I guess, to go into the weeds and define those again, like we did in the first paper?
Just in a sentence to define the lens, right? Define which lens you're talking about. Put a header, defines which lens you're talking about, and then take off from. And then start talking about it, right? Start applying it to the company or to your organization. All right. Let's go back to new share. Okay. All right. Any other questions with that? Okay. So let's talk about the final case exam, right? That takes the place of our final exam in here. This is about Disney. All right.
Is this one true to the syllabus and then it's worth 20%?
Yes. Yes. Okay. And what did I tell you? Oh, I told you if you turn in the day early, you get extra 5% credit. Okay. Okay, so assume Disney has hired you as a consultant. The organization wants you to consult with the firm on its future strategies in a new market such as China. Widespread expectation of Disney to consider a China Disneyland in addition to a Hong Kong Disneyland. And so what we want to do is Disney would like you to identify 5 lessons it would draw from its experience in Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Paris that will aid in the success. So read through that, and that's basically an organizational understanding question. Find 5 things they've learned. So Disney was more successful in, if you know anything about Disney and you can do the readings, they were more successful in Tokyo than they were in Paris, right? And so in Euro Disney. So what are the 5 key lessons they would take? Not 5 each location, but 5 total key lessons they would take from those 2 implementations, things they would want to consider. These are things we want to make sure we do in China, or these are things we want to make sure we improve if we're going to build a Disneyland in China. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for there. Just 5 main takeaways from those 2 implementations. What struck you as important? What did they do right? What should they really think about doing for improvements? Okay. Number 2, management wants you to consider important factors from the strategic, political, and cultural perspective, both internally and externally. Give several examples of each. So again, thinking about what went on in Disney as a whole, Disneyland Tokyo and Disneyland Paris, what were some key things they did from a strategic, political, and cultural lens approach to those areas, right? So did they for instance, the culture in Japan is considerably different than the culture in Western Europe. How did that affect the Disney implementation? And did Disney handle that appropriately or not? And if they go to China, what might they need to think about? Okay. And are there political issues in China that they might not have in Japan, and certainly cultural issues also, right? So this is where you're really applying the 3 lenses and thinking about how those 3 lenses apply to Disney as a whole, and how they might apply to Disney trying to build a theme park in China. Okay. Number 3, how do the lessons in France differ from the lessons in Japan? Right. So again, you drill down a little more into detail there. Right. What Japan was more successful than France, so the big question is why, right? Why were they more successful in Japan than France, and how might they take that and leverage that so they're more successful in China? Okay. And number 4, Disney is impressed with the Four Seasons success in crossing borders. The firm wants you to extract key lessons from the Four Seasons experience in Paris that might help them in China. Based upon the lessons you identified, Disney executives would like you to develop a set of action steps that they should take to ensure the success of China Disneyland. So now we're really linking the 2 cases together. Think about what happened in the Four Seasons in Paris. Why was Four Seasons so successful there, but Disney was less successful in Paris, as you're going to read if you haven't read it yet. So we have 2 major corporations going to the same city with different results. So why is that? And what are the lessons Disney can learn? Disney, a great organization, but not infallible. So what can they learn that the Four Seasons did that worked in Paris, right, that would help Disney be more successful in China, right? So you're really linking the 2 cases together there. That's why I picked this, because it really builds on what we've talked about in the Four Seasons case in Paris, and take those lessons learned and apply them to Disney in China. Right. And as corporations tend to move around the globe, they tend to get in other environments, right? This is becoming more and more common. I mean, when I used to work for General Electric, and then we were bought by Ericsson, a large Swedish corporation. So I've seen different companies from slightly different cultures come into different countries and take over. And I was on the receiving end of that one. I had the new culture installed here in Lynchburg. We have Areva is owned by Framatome, the French nuclear powerhouse, right? And so this is a more and more common theme. So I think it's appropriate to this class to really look at how these companies, as they move around the globe, the do's and don'ts, how they're successful, how they're not successful, and so forth. Okay. So on this one, again, the idea is the firm wants you to extract key lessons from the Four Seasons experience in Paris. Based upon the lessons you've identified, they would like you to develop a set of action steps that you take to ensure the success. So just label them out, right? Make sure you do this, this, and this, right, to be more successful in China. And that's pretty much it. I think at the top here I said, oh, here we go. The entire exam should be 4 to 6 pages double spaced. It'd be a lot to get into four pages, right? But 6 pages. And again, if you go 7 or 8, that's okay, right? Try not to get too much above that. Keep your answers kind of boiled down, short and sweet. Don't spend too much time explaining the cases. You can refer to things in the cases, but don't spend too much time explaining them, right? I've read the case. I know what's in it. So you don't have to. It's not like you're explaining to somebody else who's unfamiliar with what happened. You can refer to things that happened and assume I understand what happened there. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. So I used to have this longer. We used to have a whole nother section just about when they do get into China, what happened and so forth, right? But I've cut this down to save some more time in the summer class. And you can sort of divide this up. So you're looking at, like a page and a half and a question here. Right, about a page and a half, double spaced per question. Get you through this. Okay. And no presentation required, right? This is just a written document. All right, you guys saw it. And at the end, I have just a quick little survey. How did you find out about the Lynchburg MBA program? And you get a little extra credit for that. How did you search for information on MBAs? Why are you in our program and not somebody else's, right? And sort of, what do you hope to get out of the program at the end of this thing, right? What do you hope to get, or after you've completed the program, what do you hope to get? And certainly, people have some people have very specific goals, some people not as much. Okay, all right. Any questions, issues, comments?
Is that 2 points extra credit? That's answered in the bottom of the paper somewhere, like. Yeah. What
I want you to do is certainly label your numbers here that you're answering in the paper, right? And at the end, right, just paste these questions into the end of the paper. It doesn't count part as your page count, right? Just paste those questions in and then answer them very quickly. All right, good question. Anything else? All right. What I'm going to do now is I'll keep a real close eye on email the next couple days. If anybody has any questions, what I'll typically try to do is if somebody has a question, usually more people do, and I'll send out any responses I make to people's individual questions to everybody in the class. So if you see an email from me, that's what's happened. Somebody's asked me a question, and I'll shoot the answer out to everybody. If you have a technical problem, if we get more storms, if we have issues like that with Moodle going down or your internet going down, or I know people were out of power on Sunday, right? Don't panic, right? When you can, just shoot me an email if you need an extra day, right? That'll be all right? Particularly if you have technical problems or power problems. And I know our Moodle's been up and down a little bit too. And I think tomorrow's Moodle's down. I think I saw an email going out that Moodle will be down some tomorrow. So if I were you, I'd download the instructions in these cases, right? And then you're not relying on getting them off our Moodle. That's a little heads up. I should probably send that to everybody. Okay, any other questions, comments?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for coming. I'm gonna take this recording and post it. Everybody can see it, and get it out on YouTube and post it to everybody. And then good luck, and I'll see your presentation. I'm looking forward to seeing them. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.